Right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Circus of Lies live stream. We have on the stage, besides myself, John Clark, Jeebus, and Neil.
Hey, everybody. How's your week?
Hey, you.
Not bad.
So for this week, initially, I was going to talk about how FloJo had responded to, apathetic fish about his mental state and how he felt very, I guess he kind of said suicidal. And Florida wasn't too sympathetic to that. And I think he actually said something to the effect of that it actually means that his God is working on his heart, which is a horrible thing to say, and not at all sympathetic. Initially, it was going to be that, but then the last couple of days, Monkey was very active, and so I did want to talk a little bit about that, and then I can get everyone's feedback on that. So let me just oh, should I have to reshare my screen? Let me just show where the kind of the discussion that we had. So as everyone knows, he reads 50 to 100 philosophical reading material a day, but he seems to be somewhat oblivious to some of the other moral theories. And so we had this discussion, and then eventually got to the point where he kept on talking about Aristotle's 10 categories and all that, but he wouldn't really say anything about it except just to name drop it. So eventually I got to the point where I had said, where does it go? I actually came to the point where, okay, since he's not saying anything, here are what the 10 categories are. Aristotle's 10 categories, substance, quantity, quality, relation, place, time, position, having, acting, and being acted upon. These are kind of how Aristotle sort of categorized his ontology. And so when I said that, I think he kind of realized that, well, maybe that wasn't the right or wasn't the argument that he wanted to get to. So he moved on to Kant. So, he's basically saying that it's not just those 10 categories, because if you can see, it's kind of, archaic. It's kind of like talking about the humors or, earth, wind, and fire, that kind of thing. But, Kant is a little bit different. It's the transcendental categories. So he says transcendental categories logically demonstrate a pure concept of the understanding. And he puts in quotes, Kant defines categorical imperatives as commands or moral laws all persons must follow, regardless of their desires or extenuating circumstances. And he puts it in quotes, but he doesn't really say where he got the quotes from. So I just it's like, okay, let me see where he got it from. And just to remind you, Kant defines categorical imperatives, etc., etc. So when I looked for it, I got to this website called Class Ace. And it's a website that helps you with writing using AI tools. And in that website, under writings to improve, where it says improve this writing, Kant defines, so basically what Monkey pretty much said. Oh, sorry, okay. Sorry, this is a website called Class Ace. And this is AI tools to move you forward. So in that website, under writings to improve, it says improve this writing. And this is exactly what Monkey had written. So he didn't even copy the actual improved writing. He copies the writing that needs to be improved.
Wait. Hold on. You're telling me that he went to this website. So he's not actually quoting Kant.
No.
He's quoting the bad example of somebody writing a critique about Kant.
Not even a critique, just a short description.
God, what a loser.
Not only that,
I mean,
you see what it says up on top? AI tools.
yep.
Yeah.
He's a bot.
He's a, oh my God. Just,
I mean, it's just, yeah.
yeah.
It doesn't take much to, if you knew what anything about Kant, writing a sentence like this about him is simple. You
Yeah.
don't need to go to some website. You don't need to, do a Google search. But of course, we know that Monkey doesn't know anything about Kant. So, he just does a quick little search and finds something and goes, okay, that looks good enough. And he puts it in.
Yeah, this is why I'm convinced that again he's one of the few people that he and was it Throne of David. Those are the two that I'm convinced are just trolling for the sake of trolling. Like they're not actual believers. They're not actual. They're not actually there to try and convert people. They're just there to stir the shit, and that's their only purpose for coming.
No, I think Chris Maisie, sorry to David, does believe, but the mental health system in Hawaii just doesn't know what to do with him, so they just let him roam free. I mean, he's a flat earther, young earth creationist. Yeah, he really does believe. Damon, I think he's just a wanker.
Yeah.
Oh, hello.
Well, he is, but I think he thinks that he doesn't think he is, right? He thinks he's some hotshot philosopher.
So the thing of it is, though, that I think he realizes that he's not making the arguments that he thinks that he is, because again, if he really thought that he was as brilliant as he claims that he is, he'd be here mouthing off at us. But every time that he is outright challenged, there's an excuse to run away. That's why I'm convinced he's just here. I mean, okay, so at least with Neppy, as BS as his arguments are, as BS as his sources are, he at least is consistent in his presenting them. Whereas DK, yeah, he clearly isn't even thinking before he types. He's just trying to cause trouble.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, so Jeebus asked this question: why does DK keep saying the word farming? So I actually had the same question, and I wanted to ask you guys whether that had anything to with being an Aussie, or if anyone knows what that really means. Farming you.
Oh, am I the only bloody Aussie in today? I am.
Way to represent.
We like the only people we call farmers are people who actually grow crops. We call stations like sheep stations, cattle stations. They're yeah. So it's that's why I'm willing to grant he may live in Australia, but has no idea of Australian language, Australian sayings. I mean, you might see me. I've asked him dozens of times. What footy code do you prefer, or are you more of a cricket fan? That is something that every Australian should be able to tell you without even thinking. What footy they like, or they're a cricket fan. He doesn't even know what drinks with the flies means. It's an old Australian saying, but that bloke over there, whenever he goes to the pub, he drinks with the flies because he's got no mates. That's why the flies are his company. the thing of the Yeti that he keeps having to go at Hogarth for is we don't have a Yeti. We have the Bunyip and the Yowie. So yeah, he's just full of shit.
Well, he would be here to defend himself, but like Miranda said, he's only read 97 pages today, and he needs to get caught up. So after 3 more pages, he'll be back, or he'll be on here.
I mean, farming is a bit of an obscure forum term, and it generally means sort of trolling people for responses.
Is that what it is?
So basically, when he's saying he's farming, he's basically saying he's deliberately making posts to get everyone triggered and responding to it. Obviously, he's not using it correctly because he's not actually doing that. But
you are
that's
right.
the intent.
I have heard that definition.
It's old. I've not heard it for years. Or maybe I just don't use Reddit, so maybe it's a Reddit term. But
yeah, it's going back to the very early days of computer chats.
It's before mods were basically very big and cut down on the trolls.
So it would seem that my thesis that he's just here to stir the pot, that seems to be farming out.
Yeah.
Yes. Well done.
Thank you.
Has anyone worked out who the impersonator is?
Oh, I think it's Monkey.
I don't know. It's
I mean, the previous ones have been APOT, haven't they?
Yeah, they've all been APOT. Yeah.
I know. I thought it was APOT at first.
So the most probable is it's APOT again with this one.
That's what I've got it down at, or I filed it under, but with a little note saying might be Donkey.
But they are enjoying the referencing to Donkey, so to the monkey, our little monkey.
I've
just seen they've just posted me one about they've tried to copy actually Holger's rhyming scheme, but they brought up Monkey's contingency complaint.
The YouTube process for reporting impersonations,
that's good.
Is really complicated. I'll keep posting my step-by-step instructions on how to do it, but yeah, if you need a computer really to do it. You got to have the clone profile open, then you got to have the original profile open, and you got to have the URLs for both of them. And I've got a step-by-step thing that I'll just
so
post.
Let me just show here. So you click on the icon or of whoever you want to report, and then go to channel, and within their channel you should have, I think under more, after you do this, you can report user.
Yeah.
And when you report user, you would click on impersonation, and they're either impersonating you or impersonating someone else. You would say someone else, and then you would have to put in the Holger's actual link, his channel link. So it'll be something like youtube.com/@ whatever his handle is. So I did report him as well. I'm just wondering if this actually reporting it really makes any impact, unless that person is, someone, who's in the public figure.
It got rid of all the other clones that APOT made fairly quickly.
Yeah, it's just that this one, I don't know how long it takes, but
it maybe a month or two.
Okay.
Which for YouTube is supersonic.
Yeah.
The thing is, like, this one has been around for a while, about 6 months. And I think we must have reported it when it first started doing this.
I it only ever made, let me bring up my thing. He made 3 comments back in June and then stopped. And I thought, oh, hello, that's a bit strange. And then he stopped, but made 3 comments in June and stopped.
Yeah,
So I think.
Yeah, so maybe it'll take a little bit of time.
Yeah, but yeah, the YouTube reporting of impersonation does work. It's one of the few things it does.
Oh, that's
Apart
good.
from that I've upset, obviously, someone again. I got a warning that several of my posts may have breached rules. I think I got to stop using wanker as much as I do.
So the other thing he does is, whenever you try to have him explain his philosophy, he says these nonsensical stuff, things like, arguing divine essence, ousia, one of the most important Christian doctrines of moral ontology established for thousands of years, is no argument for moral ontology. So it's just gibberish, and it's ironic. He says that that I'm reduced to pure gibberish when he pretty much does the gibberish thing. But the funny thing is, I did do a send up of how he writes. So I did a post where I write in Damonkey style. So I say, Damonkey has completely demonstrated how weak his position is. He doesn't realize that my transcendental ontology of the universal dialectics completely demolishes flimsy hypostasis. Anyone who understands the ultimate external moral noumena knows that the universal moral substance being predicated on a universal moral being existence completely contradicts the monadology of the universal particulars. Thus I win. So this is exactly how he talks.
Yeah.
And he just throws in terms that really is meaningless.
Yep.
And the funny thing is, in the rest of the comments, he doesn't get that that's what he's saying. So he actually actually argues against me, saying that, well, you're just bringing up a different ontology to argue against my ontology. No, I'm bringing up junk, but he doesn't realizes that. So he just so his counter argument is piling up gish-galloping straw man for explanations of how I derive ontological concepts to support the Christian Trinity does not defeat the moral ontology of divine essence, one of the most important Christian. It's just nonsense. First of all, the ousia and hypostasis are kind of they're actually theological concepts that are used to explain how the Christian Trinity works. So ousia would be essentially kind of the essence of the different components of the Trinity, like Father, Son, and Holy Ghost, and that together, they make up the hypostasis, which is the one thing. So these are very specific Trinity-related theological concepts, but he brings it up as his ontology, his argument for that there is an ontology. But he doesn't. At least I don't think so. I don't think he understands this. He's just throwing these things out.
Yeah, no, he has a thesaurus. He has the ability to Google terms into the internet, and he strings together or copy and pastes whatever gibberish he thinks he can get a response out of. And he's not here to have any kind of actual exchange. It's literally just about getting the response. It's just about getting a reaction.
I mean, if someone had said that garbage to me even 20 years ago in a pub, I would have bounced their forehead off the bar. Yeah. You just don't talk like that. Crazy.
If you take a look at the pattern of his bragging, he brags that he is the smartest, most cleverest boy in the whole world. He brags that he is a family man with children. So these are all things that he's using as a mask, as a way of establishing credibility. Now, I don't want to go too Monday morning quarterback and pretend to be his therapist, but usually when we create these kinds of fantasies for ourselves, it's the fantasy that we wish were true. So chances are this is some lonely person who has been intellectually smacked around by some authority figure or another. He comes here to get his jollies and make himself the most important and biggest and bravest and smartest person around because he doesn't feel that way in the rest of his life. That's the impression that I've gotten anyway.
Yeah, and here he essentially projects quite hard. He responds to this person 10xdx saying, as you can see, QC the charlatan has never heard of one of the most important Christian doctrines, divine essence, ousia. In his entire life, he's never so much as looked at moral and ontology. So moral ontology doesn't even relate to the concept of ousia. Ousia is just really about the ontology of the Trinity. But he, I don't know in his mind if he thinks it is part of his moral ontology or whatnot, but it's just like it doesn't make sense, just on the internal critique of just even that one, post. It just doesn't make sense.
Do we continue to treat him as I don't want to use the word credible because that's not quite what I want to say, but do we continue to even acknowledge him, or do we just, if we even make a comment, something to the effect of, patting them on the head and saying, yes, you're very clever. Now go back to your room.
Yeah, honestly, before normally I don't even respond to him most of the time, but there was that kind of recent thing that he did which kind of caught my attention. But I think in general we should just ignore him, and for the most part we have been doing that for a long time. Yeah. And I think it was working, but I kind of broke the silence and started mocking him.
I mean, DK. I hate to phrase it this way, but like DK kind of bores me now. So does Theory of David. So does my little sock puppet. Like it's the same gibberish over and over again, and they're never going to be intellectually honest or consistent enough to acknowledge when they've dug themselves into a hole, when they've checkmated themselves.
Yeah, I mean, go ahead.
He's a source of humor for me. He's like the funniest guy. He says the most incredibly outrageous things. That's Chris.
Who was it that I was battering back and forth today? The one that was talking about these people had personal experiences, therefore it must be true.
Is that the wave atheist?
Yeah, that's right. I was that had me cackling all day.
Oh yeah, giggles is fun. Yeah, they're like a stupid version of DK, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I didn't think that was possible, but right.
Yeah.
It's like at first I was like, okay, let me actually try and interact with this person and let me see what their position actually is. And then I realized, no, you're just another presuppositionalist. Okay, fine. You're dumb. Okay, you're a purple space penguin. Move on.
Yeah, I mean the thing is, like, for his posts, he's gonna delete all these. So I try not to respond to these, or at least not write anything substantive. But it's all gonna go away in a day or two.
That's the other thing that makes no sense to me is why would you go to all of that effort just to delete it? Even if it's for the purposes of stirring things up.
Yeah, but that's what he's doing. He's just trolling.
Ronnie Alexander. That's
Yeah.
who he reminds me.
Yeah, it's the same person.
I mean, I genuinely thought he might have shown up tonight until he started making excuses.
Yeah, no, none of these guys are going to show up.
Actually, I think Neil, you said reminds you of Ronnie.
Yeah, I mean, it does the same thing as Ronnie. I don't know if it's exactly the same person, but
no, there is a similarity looking at verbiage and definitely punctuation. They are similar to Ronnie's stuff, and as we know, Ronnie's a delete and run.
Yeah.
The same as Carl Hobson. He just deletes
How many
everything.
How many of these can be traced back to 1.21?
Oh.
Do we know if any of these are the same person?
Waveway came just as 121 disappeared.
So that would seem to indicate
It they basically, it was like a continuation of what they were doing as 121,
right? I always thought they were.
Well, they are. I mean, yeah. So they're the same person, and they were close enough to Ronnie that I basically just assumed, as they were using exactly the same tactics and the same type of thing, but they were the same. But yeah, after a while, they all blur into one, don't they?
Yeah,
they do. It's just we got to find ourselves a better class of troll. We got to go to better groups.
I wish there were. I mean,
help.
I mean, I actually do want to, talk to anyone who's actually genuinely wanting to have a conversation. It's just there's so few and far between.
True.
I mean, I asked Steve if he wanted to join, but he suddenly refuses to acknowledge me.
Oh, as soon as you started mentioning it, he just shut down and ran.
Yeah, that's.
But Steve?
The one with Trump blowing eyes advertising.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
No, he had made excuses right from the beginning. I mean, I had also said he should come on as well, but
is he the one who thinks he has a voice for a face for radio and a voice for print?
I think so.
Think so?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did giggle a little bit at the idea of having a voice for print. I found a couple of excuses this week to use that line. It's pretty good.
But the other thing with Donkey is his whole thing with plagiarism. He's plagiarizing left and right, and he shows evidence that he's plagiarized, but he somehow doesn't think that that's a bad thing.
Well, if you're a fundamentally dishonest and inauthentic person, then it doesn't matter to you that you're trying to create a credit for someone else's work. So it's that fits the pattern.
Yeah, but I mean obviously this isn't some college essay that we're talking about. It's just a YouTube comment. So there's really nothing to gain or lose just by saying, hey, this is what the what the definition of this is in the internet, or here is what people say about Kant, and he could just put that, but he writes things down as if like it's his, his views or his thoughts. Especially that Soloviev quote.
He doesn't
When he was
even bother.
writing,
Yeah, he doesn't even bother to put quotation marks
Yeah.
around it.
Yeah.
That if you can't remember where you saw it or where you remember it from, at least put quotation marks.
Yeah.
Well, he wants to present as the smartest person in the room. He wants to come across as intellectually dominant. And so because he's fundamentally dishonest and because he is so pathological in his behavior, the reason why he doesn't put quotes around it, the reason why he doesn't give credit to anybody else is because he wants the perception that he's the one who was clever enough to come up with this on his own. And so that's why he doesn't give credit to anybody else. He wants all the credit. He wants all the intellectual attention.
Yeah.
And since he got caught that one time, copying from an AI site, because at that time he actually put it in quotes. So now he's going to be, using quote marks even less than before.
Yeah.
But whenever he posts something that sounds, halfway coherent, I have doubts, and I just like do a search, and it turns out that he's plagiarizing.
Yeah. Unless, of course, it's absolute word salad, in which case,
then it's him.
yeah, then it's authentically him.
Yeah.
Off topic a little bit. Has anyone managed to catch a couple of episodes of Exploding Kittens on Netflix?
That is.
Never heard of it.
I take it you have.
Oh, it is so glorious.
I've heard. Is it any good?
Oh, it's wonderful.
Yeah,
it's brilliant. The whole premise is the board of heaven thinks God's just been phoning it in, so they send him to Earth in the form of a cat with some God powers, and hell, the board of hell, decides that's a good idea too. We'll send Lucifer up as a cat, and just the idea of God and the devil as cats is just it's fucking hilarious.
It is.
Let me
It's
show
cartoons, so of course we'll have all the way, the all atheists are into cartoons and childish stuff, but yeah,
Okay.
if it's funny, it's funny.
Here's a trailer.
It's go time. Good versus evil. You're not going to believe this. I may look like a cat, but I'm actually God trapped in this body. I made the most exquisite planet of all time, sunsets, cheetahs, Florida. You know my hits, but humans did get one thing right. This game.
I'd be jumping lying if I said I wasn't having a good time with you.
You know what, Swamp Rat? I'd be jambalaying too.
And I recognise the voice.
Jambalaying. Oh, who's the voice?
It's Tom Ellis.
The
who
guy
plays
who played Lucifer. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, I didn't recognize that voice, huh?
It's and that's the deeper joke there.
Yeah.
So, Exploding Kittens is a tabletop card game, if memory serves.
Yeah.
Oh,
I played it. It's not a bad game. It's good for kids.
Is that? But hang on, I just got to confer with she must be obeyed.
Yep.
Good for kits too.
Oh, QC.
Yeah.
Do you have Ook's email address?
Yes, I do.
Okay, go ahead and feel free to give him mine.
Okay. I thought, didn't I send it to you?
Her name's Noella.
Yes, we just got to tee up a time for Neil and I to get together with the difference.
Oh,
getting
this is
there.
our good chat that we're gonna have.
Yeah, I was. Hey, Ook, I was telling QC that if you don't have it already, go ahead and QC will give you my email address for that recipe.
Oh, okay. Yeah, good. Sorry, I
think I gave you. Yeah, I think I gave you Neil's. I didn't give you John's.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine.
Easy.
I mean, I will give it a try, but beets and Brussels sprouts. Ever since I was a small child, it's just there's something in the texture of both of those vegetables that my body just rejects out of hand.
Oh well, Brussels sprouts I can understand because that's just
yeah.
But, in Australia, all our hamburgers come with beetroot on them.
Well, then I'm not. Then y'all can burn in a lake for all I care.
I've got a mate who's Kiwi, and he basically they've got the same thing with the beetroot. And so once I deliberately made him beetroot burgers, and oh god, that was a mess because beetroot you can't tell when it's grilled.
Oof.
How about Vegemite?
I've had Vegemite. It's okay.
People use too much of it. It's thin. It has to be thin.
Mm-hmm.
It's also very good on steak. If you're having a barbie, whack a bit on, marinate it. Not bad.
You want Kiwi Marmite? Kiwi Marmite is the best.
No, that's.
I know it's like solid. I know it's really solid.
It's like the stuff you'd find at the bottom of a brewery, in the sump pump of a brewery.
Well, are they similar? Vegemite and Marmite, are they similar, or are they the same, or what?
They're all
Similar.
basically the same basic thing, just different versions of.
It's just fungus, right? Some yeast.
It's dead yeast basically.
Mm-hmm.
And bits of beer and
it's a byproduct of brewing beer.
Okay.
It's
basically get a sludge at the bottom of the barrel and
spread it on bread. But
before you decant it all.
My advice to anyone who tries it is less is more.
You don't even cover the bread.
It's just sort of you get your butter all nice and melty, and then a small bit of Vegemite, and you smear the whole thing around.
You leave gaps.
Yeah, it's not like peanut paste. You can't. You got to use very, very small amounts. Otherwise, it just really it's overpowering. But it's a staple.
This is about disgusting. But if you get a bit of toast and put some tomato puree first, and then put a bit of Vegemite or Marmite on top, that is divine.
I actually have Vegemite and peanut paste sandwiches on the same, and my sister used to eat, I don't know whether she still does, but banana and Vegemite sandwiches. Oh. But she's a freak, so.
So this week on Circus of Lies, come for the philosophy, stay for the Australian cooking.
That's right.
Did everyone see the joke? I've decided to come in and tell a typical Australian joke. Did everyone catch that in chat Or
Uh-oh.
do I have to?
Yeah, I saw it.
Yeah.
Wait, let me just put it up. Oh, here it is. A man goes into a library and asks for a book on suicide. The librarian says, "Fuck off. You won't bring it back."
Oh, come on. Dude.
There's an Australian comedian called Rodney Rude, and it's one of his. Yeah.
There's only one way to tell that joke, though, Ook. Deadpan.
Yeah. You got to, yeah. He also has the one of, he's talking to his cousin and goes, Granddad got badly burnt. And his cousin goes, "Oh, really? How badly?" "Well, they don't fuck around at the crematorium."
Oh, no. Oh, good grief.
Yeah. We are a strange mob. That's a good
Oh,
movie,
I had to
actually.
beat myself there.
We're a weird mob. Very good Australian movie. It's about an Italian who immigrates, and yeah, it just explains a lot about the strangeness that is us. And it's all bloody UK's fault. No, actually, it's America's fault.
Yes.
If you hadn't
therefore
had a insurrection, all the convicts would have gone to you guys.
That's true. For a split second, when you said insurrection, I thought, wait a minute, that's way too recently.
Yeah.
In which case, I would say that your argument is just trumped up. Like that one.
Sorry,
Or
I was
maybe-
choking then.
Maybe he's biding his time.
Nice. Well done.
There's got to be a
Oh,
Harris
man.
joke in there somewhere.
Yeah. Oh,
See, now we got to figure out how to work Harris in there.
Yeah.
That's okay. The DNC already figured out how to work Harris in there.
I was always mispronouncing her name. It says Kamala. And I always thought it was Kamala.
I've heard it pronounced a couple different ways, and honestly, I'm trying to remember how I've heard her say her own name. And I think she says, "Good."
You're supposed to say comma and then la. Kamala. Kamala. Yeah.
Okay. So it's well, if she plays her cards right, we'll have a lot more opportunities to pronounce it. So there you go.
By the way, speaking of Australians and their humor, have you guys seen this Yeah Mad channel?
Wait, what?
Yeah Mad. This is like it's relatively recent, but they got a lot of subscribers. But they do these what they call a dad joke.
Oh yeah.
But they're not really dad jokes, right?
They made the mistake of getting rid of most of the people in that video.
Yeah.
So they've all been fired.
Not getting rid of per se, but I think they left because they didn't feel they were getting compensated.
They were paid crap, basically. And they basically, the guy who made it went, "I'm not paying you anymore," and he's basically making millions off these videos.
Well, you should read his kind of explanation, because I mean, I think there's probably both sides, but
I mean, what he did was legal, yeah, but come on.
Well, I mean, he kind of explains the business side of it, and it's not like, he wasn't increasing what they were getting paid, because initially, yeah, they were just getting paid nothing because this was just kind of something that was starting up, but now it's hugely successful. So there was a dispute, and 3 of those guys, everyone except the guy in the cap left. By the way, so this is like my favorite joke from here. So hold on, listen to this.
What's drinking?
Yeah, I laughed.
What's the difference between 3 cocks and a joke?
What?
Abby can't take a joke.
Wow.
Different.
So that's like kind of a running joke within that channel. Different Abby.
Different Abby.
Not that one.
No, there's some fun stuff out there.
Yeah.
Anyone watch Super Wog yet?
That's what I need to note down.
Yeah, Super Wog. They got a whole host of videos. My suggestion would be Super Wog Australian Police, and yeah, it's rather funny.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
So
Sunday
KCC,
roast.
was it milk?
I'm sorry.
Is that another one?
Milk.
Milk and crackers or something? I'm trying to think. There's an Australian one that comes up on my shorts occasionally.
There's Aussie Man Reviews. He's quite funny.
Yes, I've seen some of his stuff.
Yeah. What was
It looks like Sunday is telling kind of a long joke. He starts with priest Spike gets stolen from outside his church during morning prayers. One of his flock suggests that at the evening services, he does a sermon on the 10 Commandments, and when he gets to thou shalt not steal, it might prick the conscience of the thief. Does this make sense? Sees him after evening service, and the priest says, I got my bike back. Wait, are we missing something? I don't get that. Looks like maybe he's still writing. Has anyone heard this joke?
New one to me.
The guy says, oh, great. Did you get to the one about death and prick the thief's conscience? Somehow I don't get it.
No, there's punchlines coming.
Oh, there's even more. This is too long a joke to like post.
No, here we go.
And the priest says, no, I got to the one about adultery and remember where I left my bike.
My bike. Okay.
Got it.
That's the joke.
By the way, do you know when a joke becomes a dad joke?
Give up.
Pass.
When it becomes apparent.
Onion.
Sorry.
I have no regrets.
Yes.
When it becomes apparent.
So, I'll ask Sunday because it's easier verbally. Have you heard the Rodney Reed song Santa Claus? Where's my fucking bike? Yeah, he also does little songs, Rodney Reed, and basically it's a kid saying, I've looked through all these other presents, there's nothing here I want. Santa Claus, you effing cunt, where's my fucking bike?
I think I've heard that one.
No. I'll have to listen to his albums again. Because he's either... And this is back...
my brain.
This is something that was done back in the early 80s, late 70s. So some of them are a bit cringy, and I wouldn't repeat now. But still fun, still fun.
I think I know this joke, but I can't remember what the punchline is, but it's some chemical joke. What do you call a potassium chloride with a knife on top of it?
I don't know what. There it is.
Yeah. Oh, no. Sorry, I was thinking something else.
Easy. I do like the chemical ones.
But why did it have to be potassium chloride? That's why I thought it was a different joke.
Because that's the chemical name for salt.
That's the salt.
No, well, sodium chloride is also salt. It's a table salt.
Yes. Yeah.
Because we've got jokes about salts, and they've been peppering the conversation the entire time.
Did I struck?
Ostentatious.
I came up with an idea of how to get my real face on camera without doxing myself. I think I told Neil this. Going to get one of my old hats, and you know how the stereotypical Australian, you know, he's got corks on strings all around his hat to keep the flies away. The Goodies, UK comedy show, one of the characters, they went to Australia, and one of the characters tried to make a hat like that. The only problem is he forgot to take the beer bottles off the corks. So there is a company that make little miniature food items like bottles of beer, whiskey, and all that. So I thought, all right, I have to find out, order some of them, and get a hat with all these bottles of alcohol hanging in front, just to cover from my nose up. And yeah, I think that'd be rather good. That way I can get my face on. That was it.
Yeah, no. See if that works.
Yeah. Do you do you know what they stopped making the Goodies? And it was some sort of weird political. Too expensive.
Because they'd spent all their money on something else.
Yeah, one episode of the Goodies cost more than a few episodes of Doctor Who, which I always thought was funny.
Oh my God.
Crazy.
No, I remember the Goonies growing up. So Monty Python, bit of Spike Milligan, bit of the Goonies.
Yeah, 6 o'clock every night. Doctor Who, then the Goodies. That was the way to go. It looks like everyone is chickened out. Every theist is gutless. I mean, I thought we'd have at least Elijah spamming the comments.
Wow. So this is what Simply Wave Atheism Away is. He's trying to ask and claims that atheists can't answer this. So his idea is that, or his question is, what changed the lives of the original Christians if it wasn't the life-changing experience they claimed they had? So people have life-changing experiences without God being involved. And there are a lot of different religions where people have had life-changing experiences from their religion. So I don't know where he's really trying to go with this, but he thinks that some big thing that no atheist can answer.
Yeah, he's doing a pleading case fallacy. And you'll notice he does this a few times during his exchange with me, where I point out, hey, look, there are members of the Muslim faith, there are Odinists, all of whom have had life-changing experiences. Well, no, that doesn't count because this was a life-changing event that's based on history. So, okay, well, cool. Then tell us, where is your evidence that this historically ever happened? And then he tries to say that I argued that Christians don't exist or some bizarre gobbledygook. He's either got a pleading case fallacy, or I'm trying to remember what the other thing he did was, or burden shifting fallacy. So he either argues that we have to disprove his claim, which is burden shifting, or only Christian life-changing events are based in fact, and everybody else's don't count. That was basically those were the two big flaws in his argument. And every time I pointed that out, he just would not get past it.
Yeah, so his idea of what is historical is that there are claims of seeing Jesus's empty tomb, which is bizarre because within the Gospels, there are conflicting testimonies on who and what they saw when they went to Jesus's empty tomb. Whether it was one woman, two women, multiple different women, or whether the tomb was open or closed, or whether there were men inside or outside. It's like completely conflicting, I guess, accounts. And he thinks that's historical. And then the second part is claims of seeing Jesus raised from the dead. So the claim comes from, I think, Paul writing in a letter saying, there were 500 people who witnessed him. So to say that that's historical, that also doesn't make sense. And just because, and we covered this, a sudden life change based on these claimed experiences, it just, for him to say that these are historical. Oh, yeah. So I'm sure there were a lot of people who had life-changing experiences based on seeing Elvis Presley after his death.
Yep. What I find quite amusing, and always have, is that, Christianity, its doctrine and basically the whole reason we have it now is because of some guy who never met Jesus, had a mental breakdown or some bad mushrooms in his breakfast morning. Yeah, Paul is pretty much all of Christianity. Peter doesn't even rate his own gospel. I just find it strange that.
Is that true, or is it just that when the books were selected, they selected?
There is only Peter's letters.
Well, but we only have Paul's letters, right?
Yes, but his letters are better. God, bloody brain. Better documented. They have external sources that they can be verified.
Except for a couple of them, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, Christians make a big thing about the council at Jerusalem, which was basically Paul going to see Peter to sort out, Christians will claim doctrine and, are we doing this thing, Christianity, the right way? When the only thing they talked about was, do Gentiles who join the Christian faith have to have their foreskins cut off? And that's what the letters say. They didn't go there to talk doctrine or religious things. It was, Paul saying, we could have a lot more members of the faith if we didn't insist they get circumcised.
And the reason for that is during that time in the Roman period, men did gather around naked, like public baths and stuff, and it was kind of noticeable if you were, circumcised. So, there was kind of a stigma to being circumcised. So that was preventing a lot of Gentiles from joining Christianity. And the best way to address that is to change your doctrine, right? Oh, you don't need to get circumcised. You can still join.
Yeah. I mean, the perfect example of modern time, the Nazis used it to find Jews. Sadly, there were some other people who had circumcision as a religious or doctor or medical reasons. But yeah, basically the Nazis, if they found anyone circumcised, it was off to the camp with you. Really strange, just strange stuff. I'm pushing heavily the 3 versions of the 10 Commandments at the moment on the Christian theists, because they just only maybe 5% of them know about it, and the rest call you a liar. But that's about it. I keep looking to see if anyone who I think would have the balls to turn up and talk to us. And yeah, not seeing it.
Whatever happened to oh God, what was his name? He accused you. He accused you, QC, of quoting him and doxing him because you put his album.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
What was his name?
Started with an H.
Yeah, Hugh, right? Something Hugh.
Yeah. Hugh just completely evaporated. I don't see him at all.
Mm.
Yeah, where's Brad this week? Anybody heard from him?
No, I think he may have got slightly upset when QE said, "Let's leave the death penalty talk for a couple of weeks. Let's settle it down."
Wait, was he actually upset about that?
He didn't appear to be at the time, but he's completely disappeared.
I mean, he normally doesn't frequent the comments anyway.
Yeah.
He actually sounded like he was learning something, like he was getting the gist of just how crappy the system is, that you can't rely on it.
He doesn't believe in a lot of the things, so like he thinks it's crap that people are getting blamed for the sins of Adam and Eve, or the eternal torture, eternal punishment. He realizes that that's not, fair. So they're like, primary important things of Christianity that he just doesn't agree with.
Well, remember, he described himself as a cultural Christian.
Oh, that's true.
Which that can mean really whatever you want it to mean, I suppose. But he was very thoughtful. He was certainly willing to give and take, and also willing to listen. He brought up some interesting points. The idea of presenting the death penalty as being more humane because prison sucks so bad. Well,
and I think that is a valid, I
mean, I disagree with the premise, but at the same time, I have to admit, as far as perspectives go, I had never considered that one. So
no, but the solution can't be you should just kill people instead of imprisoning them.
Oh no. So I'm not saying that his argument wasn't valid, but it was unique. And it was thoughtful enough, and there was a reason behind the reason, so that showed a level of complexity in his thought process that is certainly unique within the troll community in the comments section, where if you question them at all, they just go, "You're stupid, you're lying," and then they just devolve from there. That's why that's why I personally was like, hey, if you ever want to email back and forth and discuss things further, I'd love to have a further conversation with you, because he's the most thoughtful person that's actually come on to push back in a while.
Well, the bar is pretty low.
Well, yeah, okay, that's true.
But it was enjoyable, and I would have liked to pick his brain a little bit on his idea of flogging people. I think in the comments of the last video, I mentioned that 100 lashes was considered a death sentence, because you get 100 from a cat of nine tails, you're going to die. And he said, what about giving them 50 lashes? And I said, yeah, so you're only beating them half to death.
Right.
I don't think he realized what flogging is. It's not like the American flogging, with a bullwhip and all that. It's a cat of nine tails and knots in it. It's horrendous.
Oh, it's barbaric. It absolutely.
American flogging can cut the skin.
And as an Aussie, it's just sort of no, that shit isn't going to fly.
Some of the tails had lead with the knots as well.
Yeah, I mean, it just
wasn't good.
Wasn't good. They could, a decent. I forget I forget the name. There's a special name for the guy who does the flogging. But if you were, say, sentenced to 30 lashes, they would have a doctor come after every 2 lashes and no, we need to stop now. He's only had 6. So they take you, they stitch you up, wait till you're healed, then take you back out and give you as many flogging as till you get your 30 lashes. So it could take 6 months. It's the most barbaric form of corporal punishment.
So there are a lot of countries that what they do is they do caning, right? Singapore is the
caning,
notorious one. Yeah, and I think it's pretty bad as well. You can't
Turkey
take too many.
Turks have the feet beating.
Yeah.
They use a truncheon to beat on the soles of your feet, and it's not a deterrent. It doesn't work.
I don't agree with that, because if you in places like those, like Singapore, there is very little of things like graffiti or some of these other kind of smaller offenses, because you definitely don't want to get caught doing that. I think there was like someone who got caned, an American tourist who got caned for like spitting out their gum or something.
There was a case about 30 years ago. He was an American student, and it was graffiti.
Oh.
I know. I vaguely remember the case you're talking about, and it was there was this huge uproar because how dare this American be treated this way, following the laws of the country that they were in. Was basically sort of the argument. I understand. I agree with you in that you see the result is little graffiti and a very polite society. I would respond with, well, but at what cost?
Yeah, exactly. Right. That's where I was getting at.
Oh, okay.
Because we could stop speeding drastically, right, and actually save lives we could basically say if you get caught speeding, you get 10 lashes, and that'll stop speeding quite a bit. But do you want to live in that type of society?
Right. It's right back to the whole argument of, is God moral if the punishment for disobedience is burning in hell forever? So applying that moral standard means that, yeah, Singapore does have safe streets, but is their government moral in how they got to it? And so your point, QC, is that no, they're not moral at all. It's tyrannical. So do we want to live in a society where the punishment system, flogging, capital punishment, etc., do we want to have people following the rules because it's the right thing to do, or do we want people following the laws because they're so scared of the punishment? Under which system is preferable to live?
Under Genghis Khan, his empire was exceedingly safe for the average person, but it kind of rested on a mountain of skulls of all the people that they killed to get to that point.
Although if you were some typical farmer, he didn't necessarily care.
Yeah.
So the big danger with this is when a government or anyone has that much power, right, over and that much discretion. You can say, okay, they deserved it because they, committed some infraction. But the problem is you don't know that you would always get the person who committed a crime getting the punishment, or whether some corrupt official, got, some fake charges put on you just to, get rid of you or punish you because of something else, right? Because, like, let's say this person, said something bad about his wife. So those kind of like potential abuses and injustices are, going to really make it impossible for, these kind of extreme punishment to actually work.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, QC, it was Michael Fay. Back in 1994, he was sentenced to 6 slashes for violating the Vandalism Act of Singapore.
I thought there was also another one about bubblegum, but I don't know. I can't remember.
Let me see what I can track down. But I remember the Singapore vandalism thing.
I remember
it was a hot topic at my dinner table.
Something about the chewing gum as well, QC. But I do know, I think it was an Australian, was sentenced to a couple of strokes of the cane because the money, he was handling his money and it went to blow away and he put his foot on it. Because they have the royal family's portrait on the money, that was disrespect to. Yep. And I think he just had to pay it at the end. He just had to pay a fine. But yeah, because shit, my money's blown away. Stamp on it, and oops, you've broken the law. It's I mean, the only time I remember going into Saudi Arabia, and it's only the second time I've lied about my religious beliefs. Guy who was traveling with said, mate, fill out the form and just tick Christian. Why? Chances are if you put atheist, that they won't let you in. So yeah, it's weird laws, which you can get around if you do it nicely, but it's tricky. What was the other time? Oh, the other time was when I got confirmed in the Catholic Church, And the only reason I did that is because my great uncle offered me a Rolex and a ring. And after the service was all done, I said to him, "You know, I lied." And he said, "Yeah, I know you lied, but it also means you're not stupid."
Okay. So QC, a little digging. There isn't a specific case that I'm finding relating to bubblegum, but I mean,
I did find it. So the
it
issue
absolutely is banned. It absolutely is banned in Singapore as a litter issue. If there's, but yeah, I can't find a specific. I'm not seeing anything that's really popping out as far as international news. But if there's, but if you find one, email me.
So it's actually it's apparently a misconception. So it is a Michael Fay case, but because he at some point mentioned chewing gum, so it kind of created a misconception that he was being punished for chewing gum.
Okay.
But it was for vandalism.
I would be on board for, say, maybe one strap if you're chewing gum in public. But that's probably what the nuns and brothers beat into me is. Yeah, they had some. It was a weird education. I'm dead set against corporal punishment for kids at school. But if you're going to have it, have set rules. And if you're smart enough, you can bend those rules around. The brothers, their chosen instrument of correction was imagine a leather strap, 40 centimeters long, however that is in imperial, 5 centimeters wide, and up to 20 millimeters thick. And they'd have it made at the local saddlery. So it was all stitched leather. And that's what they used to hold the tip of your fingers. So your hand, push your hand up, and then they strap you with it. And the rule was you can only have 6 on each hand. But I can remember they do things. One teacher went overboard. He just, for every answer you get wrong on your maths homework, I'm going to give you the strap. So it was after that episode I grabbed his strap out of his desk and took the clock down off the wall and wrapped it around on the inside, put it back, and it was 12 months before he found his strap. He had to go and pay $100 to have another one made. And yeah, I didn't tell anyone I did it. And it was wonderful to see his pride and joy strap had been lost. And it was only because the bloody battery ran out in the clock that he found it. Yeah. It's like I said before, the Morris brothers gave us set, here's the approved swear words. Which, yeah.
So Sunday, I found something interesting that Waving Simpleton guy just posted a rant about us accusing him of plagiarism and then deleted it, which seems kind of suspicious that maybe it was Damonkey suddenly realizing that he got his SAC account mixed up.
Yeah, that's curious.
Yeah.
We're going to have to pay a closer look to that because, I mean, it's certainly not impossible for him for those to be the same person, but their argument pattern and their word patterns are distinct enough that I didn't suspect them of being the same person. That's interesting.
Yeah, I would say that they're not the same, but that is kind of weird that he deleted it.
Yeah.
I mean, what I find strange is how can they have so many windows open and logged in? I mean, I'm pretty good at multitasking, but bloody hell, some of them have 5 or 6 windows open at the same time. Too much effort.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does seem like too much effort to constantly create these new accounts.
Well, look, if this is your entire world, then you figure out how to devote the attention to it. I mean, when Neppy goes on one of his epic rants, I mean, yeah, all he has to do is copy and paste, but he'll have 3 or 4 accounts going simultaneously. They're cutting and paste all of them, and that's because he's got nothing else to do. He can't find a job, so this is what he does all day.
Also, Monkey, like, he sometimes, goes from back and forth to different alt accounts for whatever reason.
I think
We
he
had
normally
3.
has 3 or 4. I remember Paul telling him he's only going to respond to the green, his Donkey's green account.
Yeah.
But what's the purpose? They said, oh, well, they get banned or something, but I don't buy that.
Well, okay, so if you've got 5 or 6 accounts, then you have built in 5 or 6 thumbs up. So it can, the more popular or the more thumbs up you get, maybe they think that pushes them up to prominence. I'm not sure.
Yeah. I mean, it really seems too much effort.
Yeah, it also means they've got 5 or 6 profiles that can make reports on us.
Right.
Oh, that's true.
And that's a bit of what I think is happening. It's like when those crypto spammers come in and make a post. There might be 80 replies, but if you look at the likes, 200, 280 likes.
I didn't notice that.
Yeah, have a look at the likes next time one of them turn up.
By the way, Jason Katz put in, he said that this Too Far Gone MCOC may be coming in. I don't remember who that is. Anyone know?
Consulting the files now.
Too Far Gone. Yeah, I don't know.
Oh, it looks like Waving Away has waved away some of his comments.
Oh, well, it's about, he was going to, right? It was inevitable.
Yes. Like Thanos, he is inevitable. It truly is pathetic. Like if you're there to try and convert people, why delete? If you're there to just stir things up, how is this a good use of your time? Like that, like his whole behavior pattern is just bonkers to me.
Yeah, I thought at first him deleting it is because, this idea that, he doesn't want to contribute to the algorithm.
Yeah, but he already has.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of ridiculous, but
it's just, that's just dumb. He's dumb. I have no patience for him.
Yeah, the Too Far Gone must be a new one, Jason, because he hasn't made it onto the files yet. So, but
he's currently trolling Matt Dillahunty's newest vid. Stupidest arguments against atheism. Interesting.
You can trolls, godlings. They work in mysterious ways. Oh, I found out that just like selfies is an Australian invented word. So is God botherers.
What's this now?
The phrase God botherers comes from Australia. We invented it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, along with selfies
And Vegemite.
and Vegemite. Yeah, but yeah, and I
So
didn't
you brought their
realize that.
background full circle.
Yeah, but I'd always called them God botherers, and I was just looking up where things come from, and oh, hello, we came up with that. That's a good idea. Yeah, that's all right.
There we go. Another fine Australian export.
Yes, along with rotary clotheslines and wine in a bag.
By the way, thank you for that one.
No, if you're ever stuck for like going long trip, you need water containers, but jerry cans are heavy and whatnot. Get yourself some wine bags that are empty. You got to rinse them out pretty well, but they make bloody good water bags. They don't take up a lot of room in your truck or in your van or whatever, and they make the best pillows, especially once they're empty.
Okay.
Yeah, you just blow air into them, and it's all like that. Boom. Wonderful.
But you can have Ray Comfort in his banana back.
No, we've got no return policy on him.
God.
It's
There's just something so deliciously ironic about the fact that one of the most cringe people out there is named Comfort.
I never thought about that, but yeah, spot on.
Thank you.
I'll
be here all week. Try the veal.
We do have some weird people here, but they tend to go away if they need to. Australia is a captive audience. If you want to make a lot of money, you have to go overseas. Whether you're an artist, a musician, whatever, you got to leave Australia. And what's telling with Ray is he got his church to the point where nothing else could be done in Australia. He didn't have the money. The government wasn't really behind him at the time. So, yeah, the only reason he moved to America was cash.
Yeah.
Make more money. And the same with the Kiwi, the other fella. I've forgotten.
By the way, Apathetic Fish has a great nickname for Ray Comfort.
What is that?
Call him Comfort. That's pretty good.
That's a good one.
God, my mind is in the gutter. It was right there, and I didn't see it. Well done.
I did the what is it? The 100 pages of philosophy reading. When he made that comment again, Donkey made that comment again. I said about the only thing that I could read 50 or 100 pages of every day is porn. And he got very upset with me. But I can't take them seriously.
You don't take them seriously because at a basic and fundamental level, they don't take themselves seriously. If you're just here to troll, then you're here. Your existence is defined by our reaction to you. You've given us all of the control.
And yeah, it's just, they're just sad. It's laugh at them. You got three options: take the piss out of them, do violence to them, or cry because they're just it's so disheartening. So I'll choose the first one.
Yeah. And every once in a while, they will say something that's just so bonkers that.
Oh, just that's your crack.
Yeah, it's like.
What was that? Joey Apop with his. Do we share ancestry with a lizard that walks on water? Explain that. I finally cracked. Yeah, it was one of his, in the meat of his arguments. And I'd been ignoring him for about 3 weeks, and I finally cracked and said, "Oh, well, you're talking about the basilisk lizard. And here's how they do it. They basically got to keep a speed of about 15 kilometers an hour. And when they put their foot down, they stamp, creating a small air bubble. And that, like I gave him citations to go and have a look at it, National Geographic and all that, where they explain it. And he stopped using it.
I mean, ironically, I think it's called a Jesus lizard.
Yes, that's the nickname. Yeah.
Yeah.
The Jesus Christ lizard. Yeah. But the basilisk lizards are the main ones that do it. I think there's a couple of other species, but the basilisk is the one that everyone seems to know, especially if you say, "Oh, the Jesus lizard." Oh, yeah, the one that walks on water.
Well, I mean, these guys are so ignorant on what evolution is and how it works. I mean, that's one of the reasons why I would like to have them on, the stream, so that we can kind of go over the specifics of evolution and try to get them to at least acknowledge the science. But just one last thing, we're gonna close here. But this guy, Too Far Gone, I saw, this is on Matt Dillahunty's site. I saw his profile picture, and I do remember him. I think he was on the Atheist Experience comments for a while, but I haven't seen him recently. And I think we thought he was some kid, because I think he has a bunch of these like game videos. So we think he's some kid. But
yeah, look, if you're a full-grown adult and you want to come here to the comments section and go back and forth, that's one thing. But if you're some kid, I'm not doing that.
So Jack Moody asked how to join the stream. So Jack, if you showed up earlier, I could just give you a link that you can just go on your browser, and it'll bring you on to the stage, and I would bring you up to the stage. But we are closing right now, so thank you everyone for joining. Jack, hopefully you can join us next week. If you want to message me or send me an email, you can send it to qc@mynes.com. Oops.
Okay.
And then you can he's a Christian young earther, so that'll be interesting. But you can send me an email or just show up next week, same time, Saturday at 8 p.m. Central, and we can have a discussion with you. But I am looking forward to seeing you, and I will look forward to everyone else next week. And for now, thank you everyone for joining, and I'll see you in the comments.